Not bad.
Oh, shit. Welcome, plant heads. My name is Navin Karu. I'm so excited to be with you today. I want to show you a gorgeous recipe with avocados. Avocados is something that makes me scream. I love the natural creaminess of avocados. It's going to be a beautiful recipe for you plant heads out there. Come check it out. So I'm going to show you how to make this gorgeous avocado on toast. And the bread we're using is this beautiful, look, a beautiful Turkish olive bread. And I love it because when you bite it, it's got that olive, a bit briny sort of flavor. And what we're going to do is we're just going to make an open face style. So we're only going to use half of it. I mean, you can use the other half later, but somehow I find when you do avocado on toast, right, you get this beautiful flavor when you do it as an open face sandwich. And when open face sandwich, it purely means having it in, cutting it into very hungry, and he'll all. I'm so lucky because I'm gonna have my wonderful assistant Eva there behind the camera. And so we're gonna use 2 avocados because we're gonna do 2 slices. So you want the avocado to be soft to the touch. And this is always the problem. If it's not soft to the touch, you're gonna get this sort of hard avocado, and what people do is they blend it up. And we don't want to blend this. We want to have the natural, creamy, soft texture. So how to cut an avocado is just we're gonna go around. Watch your hand. And I'm just gonna go around like that. There's no rules and regulations that you gotta follow. Twist it open. You get that lovely, beautiful touch. And then with the knife, you want to go like that, per knife, and then you see that, and you turn, and that's the safe way to remove the avocado. When it's soft, you get a very rich, creamy flavor. We're going to get a plate, and we're going to make our avocado mash, yeah? So I'm going to use the back of the spoon. I'm going to slot it in here, and I'm going to open it like that. And you don't see any black pigmentation and stuff. That means the avocado is good. However, a lot of people don't know this, but if you see a bit of pigmentation, a little bit of black stuff, doesn't mean it's bad, you know. It just means that it's just, you can scrape that part off as long as it's not sour or, you know, looking rotten, that's fine. You don't want to waste these good things. It's a beautiful flavor that you're going to get here. So these 4 avocados, I mean, look at how it sits on the black plate. Huh? I just love the color. The intensity of it is amazing. Okay, so we got these 4 avocados here. And what we're going to do, before we start to work with them, I'm going to put them on the board and I'm going to lightly chop them up. And how I'm going to chop them up, I'm going to rough chop them because I want them to taste the flavor. I want the flavor to be there. I want the texture to be there. So simple with any knife. I'm just going to cut it like that, rough chop. And you see, it's really creamy, so there's no resistance to the bite, you know, there's no resistance to the knife at all. Cut it this way as well. So when I cut it this way, I allow the salts and the lime and the flavor to go in. So this I'm gonna add to the bowl here. Once I add this to the bowl, what I'm going to do is, this is the most important part of actually the dish. This is actually one of the most important parts is the seasoning. How you season and how you treat it. So I'm using this beautiful pink salt. This is Himalayan pink salt that is got a lot of trace minerals, very, very high quality salt. And this is not a finishing salt, so you use this to cook within the food. A generous sprinkle of the salt. Now we're going to use some extra virgin olive oil, a generous drizzle of the extra virgin olive oil. Let the olive oil and the avocado, they're best of friends. Let them bathe together. So a little bit of black pepper, and we don't want to over pepper the guy, just a little bit to sort of bring the flavor together and have that sort of pop when you put it in the mouth. So this is almost ready, right? I'm just going to keep this aside. Now what I want to do is I want to caramelize my onions. So I've got a pan here. I've been letting the pan heat. Just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. I like to use extra virgin olive oil. I'm being a bit indulgent. You can use olive oil, corn oil, whatever oil you want. And we want to make these caramelized onions because this onion is going to give you, with the sugar and the vinegar, is going to give you this beautiful caramelization. And when you have that on the toast, with the avocado, it's going to be really nice. Because avocado is soft and creamy, right? So you want some crunch to your meal. So when you use these onions, you're gonna get that crunch. Cut down. You wanna cut it lengthways, not too thin and not too thick. I try to eat vegan now and again, so every time I get a chance, I want to make a vegan dish that is good. I want to make a vegan dish that is nice. I don't want to feel like I'm missing out on something. So now we're gonna, can you hear the sizzle? So we're going to lightly caramelize this guy. And doesn't matter if there's big pieces, there's small pieces, it really doesn't matter. It's not the end of the world. I'm just gonna put this aside. Remember, never throw your onions, never throw your veggies. If you're gonna make a curry later or in the afternoon, you can use that. So while that's cooking, this beautiful Turkish bread, I'm gonna toast this bread. And I'm gonna use both sides just for insurance to make sure that it comes out nicely. So I want this to be crunchy. At the same time, I want it to be soft. So not too crunchy, not too soft. So as you can see, it's cooking. And remember, we season as we go. So as we cook, we're gonna salt. As we cook, we're gonna salt. Because that's when you're gonna get all that good flavor. I'm using a ceramic pot. So when you use ceramic pot, you use less oil because it gives you that non-stick sort of texture. I'm gonna add a bit more olive oil. And I'm gonna crank up the heat, I think about medium heat. Let it cook a bit more. While that's cooking, I'm going to prepare the tomato salsa. So tomato salsa is such a cool thing. I'll show you how. So I'm going to take some cherry tomatoes. You see, the tomato has your natural MSG flavor. Tomatoes have what is called natural MSG inside. And this is going to give a flavor experience and make that difference to your avocado dish. So what goes well with tomatoes? So generally, I like to add a bit of garlic with my tomato. I think garlic and tomato go really well, so I'm halving them. And so with this, I'm gonna add some basil as well. I think, you know, the secret to this dish is layering the dish. Look at the board, if you can come onto the board. I'm gonna mix this together now. So I've got the tomato. I'm gonna get a bit of basil inside here, because tomato and basil are very good friends. And then with the basil, I'm gonna add a bit of salt. So you can mix stuff on your board, you know. Your board doesn't generally have to be a static thing. You don't need a bowl for certain things. And now I'm gonna get some garlic involved. And just a couple of pips of garlic will do. So garlic with cherry tomatoes and basil is like best of friends. And the toast just came up. That's amazing timing for me. And you just want to rough chop it. You know, there's no particular rule of how you need to chop it. You just want to get it into small. You just want to get it into small sort of pieces like this. So when you have this garlic and rosemary and all, now I'm just going to add a bit of oil on it. Okay. And then I'm going to lightly toss it together. So this is going to be one of the garnishes on top of the avocado and toast. So we've set that aside now. There's some big pieces, never mind. You can leave that there. So while these onions are cooking, this is the time we want to add a little salt, a bit more salt. And we want to add a little bit of brown sugar inside. So this brown sugar is really going to take it to the next level. This is when it's going to caramelize. And a little bit of brown sugar is not going to kill you. Remember, vegans don't eat honey, because honey is an animal product. They don't take any butter. So we're going to rely on olive oil and stuff like that. I'm going to start to build this together. I'm going to get a nice plate here. And plating is the most important thing, you know, getting the ingredients. If the food looks good, it's gonna taste good, it's gonna entice people to eat it. That's what's really important. You wanna entice people to enjoy the meal. As we're letting this sweat, you want the onions to sweat. When they sweat, they're gonna get sweet and lovely. You want them to basically really caramelize. Let the onions take their time and do their job. A lot of people, what we tend to do is we try to rush onions, and when we rush onions, we never get the desired outcome that we want. So I'm going to wipe the plate, and then I'm going to lay this thing down. And you know, vegans we don't use butter, so I'm going to start to plate this up. So I'm going to drizzle this olive oil all over. Okay, the onions have done their job. So now I'm going to take a little bit of this caramelized onion. I'm going to drop it here. This looks and smells delicious. Absolutely delicious. So the bread is nice and crispy. The onion is already working there. It's like think of the bread as the canvas. Now this avocado, I'm not going to mash it, I'm just going to lightly rub it around and move it around. And I'm going to lift this and put it on. So I'm sort of piling it on, but not too much, because this is a sort of thing that you eat with a fork and a spoon. You're not going to use, with a knife and a fork. You're not going to pick it up with your hands, because this is sort of an open-faced sandwich. And the best way you're going to enjoy this dish is to have it like this. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that basil and the tomato on top. Aged balsamico, this beautiful thing is aged in oak barrels, right? And I'm just going to pour a little bit all over. Look at that. Oh my God. And this is going to give that acidity to cut some of the fat from the olive oil. And I'm just going to finish this with a tiny bit of pepper. And I think we've hit a home run there. There you go. A beautiful avocado and toast with tomato salsa or Turkish olive bread. I hope you enjoyed that, plant heads, and see you for the next episode. Thank you again. I'm Navin Karu, signing out. See you then.